Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk to you about this smart lithium iron phosphate battery from Renogy. This is the Pro version, so this is the new one that they've brought out with a updated BMS and a different packaging, the packaging of the actual battery itself. I'm quite keen to look into this battery because I've been looking for a battery to replace my aging AGM battery for a while that currently resides in my overland rig. So not only do I get better usage out of a lithium battery, but also a massively reduction in weight. This battery, believe it or not, is almost exactly 20 kilograms lighter than my battery. On paper, it says this is 12.2 kilos. I don't have a scale with me to check, but I can assure you, I can pick this one up myself. With my AGM battery, it's pretty much a struggle. I can pick it up, but it's a struggle. So without further ado, let's jump into this battery and have a look. So I've got my trusty cutters, so let's cut into this box. First off, we've got the user manual, some stickers and a, what is that? It's a warranty card in there. And then, what do we have here? We've got 4 M8 bolts. These are two short ones and 2 long ones. That is pretty useful to have. Okay, let's slide it out. That is really fun. Well, first off, it is quite good to be able to pick this battery up without any real hassle. 12.2 kilos on paper, and I can tell you it feels like 12.2 kilos. So let's have a look what's... Okay, the manual in English tells you how to connect the battery. Exactly, well, I'm not going to go through the manual bit by bit. So let me tell you a few things about this battery. So usefully, they've got all the details printed on the front of this battery. So the battery's got a nominal voltage of 12.8 volt. It's a 100 amp hour battery, as you can see there. It's down there. So that gives you about 1280 watt hours if you're working in watt hours or not amp hours. This battery has a discharge rate of 100 amp. However, usefully, it has a peak discharge of 245 amps, which can be sustained for 30 seconds. So if you've got a big load like an air conditioning unit or a generator or something that kicks in, that pulls that massive power at the start, the battery will be able to handle that for 30 seconds before it cuts off. You can charge this battery at 100 amps maximum. So that's a decent solar setup if you are lucky enough to have that. And it is recommended at a 80% depth of discharge maximum. So, of that 100 amp hours, we'll be able to use about 80 amp hours. You can use it for 5,000 cycles, but the battery as well has a 7-year parts, as in construction parts and manufacturing warranty. So you have that peace of mind in that they will back this battery for 7 years. So let's have a quick look at this battery. Well, it seems solidly built. It sounds hollow because I noticed that when I was taking it out, it's got a gap there with mounting positions, so you can actually bolt this down to the floor. I'm personally going to put it in a enclosure, so I'll be strapping it down, but you can bolt it down if you are able to do so. The plastics do feel very good. What's interesting about the plastic on this, it's got a UL94-V0 rating, which means a flame won't propagate for longer than 10 seconds if any part of this catches fire. So that is a good thing. That's good to know. It's also IP67 rated, so dust and waterproof, and it's also corrosion resistance of ISO 9227. Looking at the top here, it's got your normal certifications: UN 38.8, FCC, UKCA, now that we're out of the EU, so that is the UK version of the EU CE rating, RHS, PSCE, and I believe that doesn't matter really where you are in the world, your certification will be covered. Just drop this. On the top of this battery, it says it's got a 10-year lifespan, so that is pretty good. This battery is also Bluetooth enabled, so you can connect it to your DC Home app. It's got a updated BMS. So this new BMS is an EV grade BMS. But what does that mean for you and me? Well, according to the website, it's got over 60 protection monitoring parameters that it checks over the battery to ensure that the battery is electrically and thermally safe to operate. The battery has 5 temperature sensors all spread within the battery, and if the temperature of this battery drops below 5 degrees and you are trying to charge the battery, as long as your charging amps are over 4 amps, the battery will self-heat itself up to a maximum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius to ensure that the battery itself is safe to be charged, because you can't charge, or you shouldn't charge, a frozen battery. So that's good to know that the battery will look after itself in that way, and in effect look after you. I just thought before I install the battery itself to show you exactly where it's going to go, how I look after it, and how I plan to look after it in the future. So this is my current Excite AGM battery. It's also a 100 amp hour unit, but like I said previously, because this is AGM, I only have about 50% of this battery that I could use. It gets its feed from my DC-DC charger, which we would look at in a minute, but it also has another set of wires that feeds my fuse box and my switch panel. On the switch panel I have lights, which is the top one. It makes quite a big difference. I also have a socket for my diesel heater, and I have a feed for my fridge, which goes to this fridge slide, where normally the fridge would be, but because of this I took it out. I look after the battery with this, which is my Renogy DC-DC 30 charger. It normally sits in the back corner, but I just thought I'd take it out and show you closer up, and because I'm going to remove the battery anyway, I just thought I'd remove all the connections to the main starter battery just to be safe. The Renogy has got both a DC-DC side but also a solar MPPT charge controller, and I've got my input from my engine, well, my battery and my engine bay over here, but I also have my solar input here. This furthermore can monitor the temperature of the battery. It's got a temperature probe. It also can do battery voltage sensing, and it has an ignition lead to tell the unit when your engine is running. I've connected this to a Bluetooth 2 module to allow me to connect to the DC Home app, to allow me to monitor what this is pushing out, and especially when I'm using solar, just to see exactly what I'm pushing into the battery. This is mounted on a piece of particle board, which I have little magnets mounted to the back, and then coated it in truck bed liner. The magnets allow me to mount it to my metal, or my steel canopy. This is an RSI steel canopy, which is quite handy. So essentially I could put it anywhere I want, but it sits on the other side of my kitchen unit, tucked out of the way. But it also allows me to monitor the lights on the DC-DC charger while I am driving, just to see that the battery is charging and normally I can see when it's fully charged, which just gives me that extra peace of mind that when we get into the camp, my battery is fully charged. I am thinking, however, of adding this, which is the new Renogy Smart Shunt 300. This will allow me to monitor the battery at another level, essentially 3 Bluetooth modules connected to my DC Home app. But being a shunt, it will also allow the power to be cut once the battery reaches a predetermined level. I need to look at this further, but I am seriously thinking of installing this. Luckily, I can do this later on when it's not this cold. Anyway, that light has gone off, which tells me it's time to get on and get this battery installed. So without further ado, let's crack on. Right, so we're back in the back of my truck and I've finished the battery box. Unfortunately, the space that I wanted to get the battery installed was too small. The dimensions of this battery is just a little bit wider and a little bit higher than I need it to be. So I went back to how I used to run my battery and use this Wolf box as a battery box. So let's just follow the power. So the power comes in down there. Both of those go to my 2 bus bars. These bus bars are pretty heavy duty. They're quite bigger than what I thought they were when I saw them on Amazon. But they absolutely do the job. So let's follow the red. So you've got the power coming in. I've got a MIDI fuse there. It's a 100 amp MIDI fuse, and then we have the power going over there into a switch. You can see the 2 terminals there. It's a on-off switch that allows me to cut the power completely from the battery to everything else, and then it's back onto the battery. Now the interesting part really is on the negative side of the battery. The power comes into the bus bar, and then it goes through the Smart Shunt. So this is the Renogy Smart Shunt 300 that I bought, and I think that will be good for ensuring the battery is safe and I don't deep discharge the battery, which I have done with my AGM, unfortunately. Anyway, that then goes straight into the negative. Off of here I have got 2 power takeoffs essentially. One is this wire here, which is currently plugged in, which allows me to get power to my switch panel at the front, and also distributes power through for whatever I need to use in the back. And this one here is a dedicated power cable for my fridge. It's got no switches or anything on there. It is because the fridge will always be on, and I don't want to accidentally forget to switch it on, or gets bumped and it switch off. What's also in here, I've got temperature sensor. So this is the temperature sensor for the DC-DC charger, and there's a temperature sensor just sitting next to the battery. I've tucked it down there, but you can see the black wire down there for the Smart Shunt, and also all the temperature sensors in the battery. So if there's one thing that I can do really well is look at the temperature of my system, which, it is important to ensure longevity of the battery. All of this gets covered up. There we go. And then normally this will be underneath my fridge enclosure, which allows me to pack stuff at the top, because I've got a full length fridge slide. The battery actually slides in and out with the fridge as I open it and close it. But yeah, that is my battery. Well, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you've learned something about the battery. If you've got any questions or comments either about the battery or my setup in general, please drop them in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing in my channel, consider subscribing, and obviously a like on this video if you think it's worth it would be highly appreciated. I will see you in the next one.